just trying to make sure that everything is cool. I know sometimes people are not used and accustomed to necessarily having things go in a way in which that they are. But so nonetheless, I welcome you all here. This is a DIY do-it-yourself book tour for Route 60 Memoir Reading with Love, Sapphire by myself, Antasia Shabria Armour. So I welcome you all, and am extremely glad to have you all here with us today. So the fact that we're going to get ready to get into a few things here, that is direction for what is taking place with this particular item that is ready available for sale on barnesandnoble.com. You can go there and check those things out if that's something that you're interested in as well, which hopefully you're a part of what is taking place. So clearly that is something that makes sense to you all. And so I'm going to go and start forth with a very few topics. I'm only going to do 2 for every session that we hold. The meeting is only 15 minutes, so we only have 10 minutes at that is left. So you can find our available product again that is available on barnesandnoble.com. You all know I have the links on all social media platforms, so there's really no question about where you can find it. Go to www.barnesandnoble.com and you'll simply put in the search box Antasia Shabria Armour and you'll see the list of books that are ready available. Again, you can go to www.barnesandnoble.com. That's barnesandnoble.com, barnesandnoble.com, and put in our name, Antasia Shabria Armour, which is ANTASIA and the list of plethora of books are already available for purchase is going to come out. We just recently did our very latest creation, which was about, now this is definitely behind the scenes. So I'm recording live our Zoom session so I can post it on our YouTube channel so they can have a bit of what's taking place as well and know where to go and conduct themselves for future references as well. It is an autobiography, so I really wanted you all to really focus on learning and expanding. Millionaires only read self-help history as well as autobiographies. Autobiography is really about making sure that we know off memory what took place so that other people can learn from our mistakes, and those who are around us also made their own ideas and mistakes known as well in this particular book and a memoir as well, or novel, whatever you want to call it. But nonetheless, it is strictly dealing with particular events, and they are absolutely correct as well. I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but when you're writing memoir, people hate for it to go in chronological order, much like a timeline. That's not what the idea of creation is about. It's more so just about what naturally flows as an entrepreneur and a business person, as a writer, as an artist, as a person who's looking forward to certain things in their lives and their lively experiences and things of this nature. And so I started the very first chapter with, I believe, a phone call from a cousin. And our cousin was getting ready to go to court and have some issues that was taking place. So that's where majority of it started. It doesn't start from, I was born in Dallas, Texas. No, it started where we were just getting ready to wrap up a relationship. And a cousin of mine, her name is Shantia. The other cousin, his name is Tavante. That's where it started. I was with Tavante. And then that's in chapter 1. And then we had those moments where it starts not in Texas and Dallas where everything was all good. It actually starts in Parma Heights, Ohio, where everything was beginning to just dwindle downward. And that's where the whole entire book transcends from there. And so when you originally start out in that transcending trajectory, we had a moment there where everything was just really going through this breakup. I had a mental guy that was around who was geared as God's gift to myself, but yet he was still trying to take up so much of my space, time, and energy. And so because of it, that was an instance where my cousin and I, Shantia, we fell out, because the whole instance of how it came about into my own life was because of Shantia. And when we had those instances there, and I decided to really hunker down and let that person go out of my life, whose name was Antasia. So the fact that I went ahead and let him go on about his business, and that's how we said entered into as entity Parma Heights, Ohio. And so I had a moment there, and Shantia came out to visit with her mother, Michelle. And so we were there and we were hanging out, but everything was awkward and nothing was really as it was. But I tried to still have compassion and love and understanding for these entities, even though I have so many scars that are geared towards Shantia and that had originally originated from Shantia in the first place. So that's where the very delicate balance came into, was the fact that we had to acknowledge that some of these instances were going on and still try to maintain that said entity of a connection, because we're family and there is a bond there. So welcome again. If you're just joining us, I am Antasia Shabria Armour. I am the owner of Antasia Shabria Armour. I am in Spaces, and I therefore am going to be basically what you all see every time you're here, based off what is taking place and going on with myself. So again, I welcome. I'm so happy to have you all here. Thank you to all of our subscribers on YouTube. You guys are so sweet. I'm so grateful for having you all. You've been so sweet, such a blessing, and I'm just so extremely grateful for you all. So I want you all to know this as well. I have not forgotten about any of you. I know I've been posting as much as I can. Some days I post a gazillion, and some days I barely posted anything at all. So I'm glad that you all are bearing with myself and being patient with myself as I figure out how I want to live and figure out how to grow old, okay? So I'm grateful again. I'm thankful, and I thank you. Thank you. What do you say you and me take a walk over to the town? Okay, so I know that that's a bit much of a handful. And so the relationship, if anybody's wondering how I ended up having this relationship with Savante, I as of lately, we've gotten better. As of lately, there was a moment where he came by, I believe, with my own uncle, who is goes by Tony, and that's Shantia's father. And so she's she's clearly, our brand space's owner's first cousin. And so she came by. The last time I saw Shantia that she actually came by our house was when we went into a house fire. So our home that we grew up in, which is our own grandmother's home, actually caught on fire. She came by, but what I really felt that was disrespectful. I tried to kind of sort of still, practice that compassion and things of that nature, regardless if I felt like it was. Because clearly I did, otherwise y'all know, y'all my BFFs. I'm sure I had told somebody else. But nonetheless, so when she was stopping by based off the fire and things like that, because her own father was here, which is our brand space's owner's uncle, Tony. So he was here because of our brand space's mom, who goes by Bria, owner. You know that already. And so she was here trying to figure out everything, particularly speaking. And so he comes by because clearly there might have been a phone call and things like that. So he got word that something was taking place. So he came by. And of course, the house was on fire when he got here. And so while he's here, he has to figure out how to still maintain a relationship with his granddaughter as well, whose name our brand space's owner's cousin's daughter name is Naraya. So that means that she needs babysitting, and that's why she's here. She's not here to figure out how to get her daughter to come with myself, our brand space's owner, Antasia Shabria Armour, but it's her father, which is Tony. And so she's here, she's stopping by, she's coming to myself, and I'm like, well, why are you trying to be so close onto myself when you only here because you need a babysitter, and that's your father, and your father happened to have been here, and that's why you're hugging me. And myself, generally speaking, as a business owner and as an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, you are immediately put on edge. No, hold on. Like, this is still in COVID. We're still just wrapping up the disease and the sickness. So back it up a little bit. You can go to your father. Don't act like Dontavius didn't exist. So go over here and be with your father, but leave myself out of it. I have to focus on other things that's going on, and it has nothing to do with you, because I know as a business owner, entrepreneur, that I cannot scale and have you around based off how you handle Dontavius. So that's where a big majority of this memoir comes from. It's really built off certain characters. And when you realize that as you have these moments in time and people reveal themselves to you all, you really have to learn how to pay attention. And when you begin paying attention to these entities, then you see, oh, wow, she really told her to move off over her, but it wasn't for nothing. It was for a reason. It was because our brand space's owner was hurt by Shantia's behavior based off how she hooked someone up with a person that she knew was a little bit less than, but yet she did it anyway, which was Dontavius. And that's how and why we ended up being in Parma Heights, Ohio. And so we got the phone call in chapter 1 from one of the said entities who was discussing our brand's owner's first cousin through our brand space's mothers, which is Sharice's sister, older sibling Arnita. whose son is Tavante. And therefore, that is why we're first cousins as well. And that's where the issue comes in at. And he's having some problems when it's coming with dealing with how he wants to pursue his relationships moving forward with females. And the particular one that he's dating at that moment in time is causing him nothing but stress and drama. She has people beating him up, knocking out his teeth, and he's really struggling to figure out what's going on. He didn't graduate high school. I don't believe he's trying to go back to finish high school. And so you get caught up in seeing that very instance there, and that's where chapter 1 is taking you. And that's what's happening that particular moment in time. He's going to court in order to figure out how to extradite this woman from his life, even though they've been seeing one another for quite a bit of a time, and necessarily for a while at that point in time. So it's difficult to see how that transpires. And so when I wanted to figure out myself how to conduct this book, I originally wanted to start writing this book around 2008 when the Brand Spaces owner and myself was probably around 18 or 19 years old. And that was such a hard task to do that I completely bombed it. And so when I originally finished it, I had all of these efforts from then that I had tried to work into this novel, and it was so simple at this point in time when I actually wrote, because I had kept so many journals. So that's how the entire book actually came into fruition. It was definitely not about just trying to figure out how can I just sit down and write this book, because around the time publishing has happened, publishing was probably around 2022. I finally published. But 2008 to 2022, that's where the entire creation of said Route 60 memoir written with Love Sapphire was thus born. Alrighty, so I'm going to end our Zoom here. YouTube, you stay. I'm going to get ready to head out with y'all. But thank you all for joining our book tour, our DIY, as we discuss some of the things that are going on to spread the word, so that you all know that we have these items readily available for our autobiography and for our memoir. So I encourage you all to reach out if you have any questions. I love you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye. I'll see you again tomorrow if you want to come by, and we'll pick up some more pieces. And I look forward to seeing you all then. All right. Hey, so again, I just wanted you all to know that I definitely wanted to make sure that I know it's really difficult sometimes. I mean, myself thinking about what I want to do for chapter titles, and not even just coming up with the entire creation of the book, which is really odd now that the AI stream has really been taking over as heavily as it has as well. Like, you can totally see sometimes how we kind of sort of have these moments where artificial intelligence is just taking off. Everybody's writing or reading, I guess, whatever you want to say, with this AI people. And it has absolutely no power in but I guess it seems as though AI does have more power than we do. And that's why it's really trending right now. I guess China is trying to figure out how to bring it back into here, and some kind of deeply seated kind of sort of argumentative nature and things of that type of identity and characteristic traits that is taking place as a current event and trends. And nonetheless, it's like, well, what is the purpose of continuously having AI write everything when they can experience nothing? So when you have those experiences there, it's almost as though people were taken as to AI as being threatened. And I personally, as an entrepreneur, looked at it like, well, hey, AI is here, but I see now that AI could have never produced such types of So I was not necessarily worried about my position on my own thoughts based off how I have chosen to create autobiography. That's for the benefit of learning how we have really necessarily chosen to have come off as. But that's just the way that things kind of sort of unfold and crumble, so to speak, because sometimes when I'm really trying to figure out how to create, especially this particular item, an autobiography to begin with, it was really, really challenging. I don't know why I always just wanted to write a book, but I did see another YouTuber, and she was really, 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 really spot on. She kept saying that maybe you always want to have so many books, but not just to read them, but because you're made to have made one. And I was like, what? She talking to my brain space is on her like this? Like, oh, And so that's where you get into having those moments of creation there, because it's so hard. It's extremely difficult to just create and create and create. But I wanted to create for such a long period of time, and not even just create the book, but the titles that are for your chapter pieces as well. Each chapter title is so intent to having things come across a certain way that I was just really adamant about how it came across as I began to execute for creation and actually have for said promotion and publicity as well, so that you all can enjoy these things and figure out necessarily how to kind of sort of make them into something that you can use moving forward to help you scale your own business. All righty, well, have a good day. Bye-bye. Hey, baby.